Hello there. Every now and again I get an email. Well, actually I get hundreds of emails every week, but every now and again I get an email that brings a smile to my face. And this is one that I received some weeks ago now from Richard Steele, who some of you will know. He worships at St Giles and sometimes comes to the villages too. And more often than not, he's to be seen out on his bike, both in the locality, and if you tend to venture more than 100 miles away, you might even come across him there because he cycles miles. He sent me an email, as I say, a few weeks ago, and he said, last week, over a period of 4 days last week, 57 deliveries were made for Hannah, Kath and Margaret, visiting addresses in Corby, Kettering, Market Harborough, the Villages and Desborough, using 2 bicycles, 104.42 miles in all. Brilliant. That was from Richard. Isn't that fantastic? Ever since the beginning of lockdown, that very first lockdown, Richard has been delivering all kinds of things around the benefice and even further afield, ranging from cake to our Alpha Mums group, to copies of some of our orders of service, to lots of other kinds of resources that we've wanted to get out to some of you. And Richard isn't the only one who's been helping with deliveries. Many others have done the same. I'm incredibly grateful to each one. But when I got Richard's email, it reminded me of the huge number of people who during the COVID pandemic have stepped up to help our churches continue in their work to reach out to God's community, to our communities with God's love. Some of you have had the grace to thank me for the work that I and some of the ministry team have been doing, and we're so grateful to you for your thanks. But what you won't necessarily have known is all the work going on underneath the surface that so many others have done that's enabled us to do some of what we have done. So they're the obvious people, in a sense, who've been involved. People like the clergy, our lay leaders and ministers, our stewards and wardens, and they have all been absolutely amazing, and I cannot thank them enough for their support and incredible service over this last year and a half. And of course prior to that, but I'm particularly thinking of since we were struck with the COVID pandemic. So there have been the obvious people, in a sense, the ones that we'd all have kind of seen, and then there's been the unexpected ones. Many of you have said how much you valued our regular thoughts for the day. Well, you may have noticed that there's been some new faces on there over the last few months. We've had 2 or 3 people step up and do them that have never done one before. Isn't that been brilliant? New people stepping up to serve the rest of us. And it's not just the people actually who've done the thoughts for the day who've stepped up. People in other areas have stepped up to do things to help serve the life of our churches. The unexpected ones. But what a blessing you have all been. And then there have been the unnoticed ones. The ones who, maybe a little bit like Richard, have done all kinds of things that many of us won't even have been aware of. Delivering things, making phone calls when they haven't been asked, but just as a matter of caring pastorally for others, doing someone's shopping, making cakes, so much more that often has gone unseen. Every now and again I hear of someone who's done something by way of serving the church and the community, and they've just quietly got on with it. They've not let anyone know that they've done it. And for me, that is the most wonderful of all. The people who have continued to be part of the team and just served without even being noticed. If that's you, thank you. Paul talks in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 about the church being the body of Christ, where every part counts. Some parts of our physical bodies are very small or get covered up and never get noticed, but they're all important. And that was what Paul is saying in 1 Corinthians 12. We're all called to function as different parts of Christ's body, the church. And whatever we do, it is valuable and important. So thank you to so many of you who have taken on your part in serving the body of Christ. Thank you to those who've started serving in new ways. Thank you to those who have faithfully served and might not even feel that you've been noticed. I give thanks for you, and I pray that you would know God's blessing for your faithfulness. You see, the church thrives when the team or the body works well. A few people doing lots of things isn't as good as everybody doing something. So thank you so much to so many of you who do something. It makes a difference and it helps our churches to thrive. Without Richard and others like him, we wouldn't have been able to do all that we've done during the pandemic. Without some of our new Thought for the Day contributors, we'd have struggled to provide such a variety of thoughts. Without each and every one of you who has served during this time of COVID, we wouldn't have been able to do half of what we have. We are the body of Christ, and I give thanks for you. All of you, but especially those of you who may have served in ways that have been unnoticed by the rest of us, and yet have been valued by God and have helped our churches to thrive. Thank you.